Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Earlier, before we went on that break, we discussed the issues in Lagos State and the politics about how they want the governor impeached in the House of Assembly. The allegations are there. Let's go to other states and perhaps issues relating to the 2019 general elections. There's a problem, and the APC, the ruling party, has a headache. It appears the headache is unending. The candidates are visiting the courtrooms in the party lately rather than going to the campaign grounds. Today, INEC has published names of the candidates eligible for the February 16 elections, and Rivers State APC problem seems to be continuing as names of the party is obviously left out. INEC says that is acting on court orders. The two factions of the APC in the state continue their matter at the Court of Appeal. This also came as the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in the state released the final list of party names and candidates for the governorship and state assembly elections with the APC's name missing. What then is the fate of those whose names are not captured? Not only in Rivers State, wait a moment. Ogun State also, there seems to be some contention in the PDP, but INEC has released the name of Buruji Kashamu, a senator serving in the state, as a governorship candidate of the party. The party has objected, saying their candidate is Adebutu, but INEC insists that Kashamu's name will be on the ballot. In Zamfara State, INEC says he has 2 court orders and so will not be enlisting APC just yet for election in that state. Some issues relating to legality. Then I have Honorable Idahosa to discuss this with us. Thank you so much for coming on this one. It's a conundrum, isn't it? Especially for the APC. Where do they go from here? Let me give you a scenario. Should a final decision be made by the final court, the apex court, shortly before the election, let's say 3 days before the national elections, what happens?
Well, if that happens, then it will mean that INEC will be in a dilemma. They will be confronted with the provisions of Section 26 of the Independent National Electoral Commission law, which is the establishment law, and that would mean that they will have the powers to postpone the elections for those areas because of the intervention of a court judgment.
To have to postpone the election?
It's definitely, because that's an emergency which is captured by the provisions of their law. They will have no alternative than to postpone the election in the rule of law contest.
So there is a portion of the law captured saying that INEC will have to postpone the election in the case of...
such emergency.
So, but is it fair on other parties that one party that couldn't resolve its internal squabbles has dragged others into a postponement of election? Is it fair?
Well, that's a matter of equity. And you have to understand the point that in the first place, the exclusion was by an order of court. And so in the sequence of the rule of law, the court order is critical. If you ask yourself, how were their names removed? And if that were by a court order, and the Superior Court order, peradventure says, they have to participate. Do not forget that ab initio, they were never saying that they were unwilling to participate. They may have had some crisis, and that led probably to some exclusion with respect to the regulations of INEC in line with timetable. And then at the end of the day, a court order says, look, in spite of that, to exclude them is to deny them the chance of a contest. We order that they be enlisted on the ballot. That's a court order that the INEC cannot challenge, pursuant to Section 6 of the Constitution.
There's a battle outside of the APC in Rivers State, PDP. As a case. There are several cases in court in Rivers State. It looks so much that a lot will be determined in the court for Rivers State APC. Even in the APC, internally, they have issues. Let's leave that on one hand. In Zamfara State, INEC says it has 2 different court orders or judgment, as the case may be, from similar jurisdiction. And INEC says at this point, you don't know what to do. If you were INEC, what would you do?
Well, against the background of courts of coordinate jurisdiction, it's difficult for INEC to make their decision which one to choose and pick from. So it's safer for INEC to probably go with an appellate court decision, which will then, of course, settle that matter as far as that the direction to go is concerned. Because very often, when you have courts of coordinate jurisdiction giving conflicting orders, you might find out that you are not in a position to make that choice. So it is better for the parties that are contending to probably go up to the appellate court. But the danger is the timing.
So in that case, in the case of Zamfara too, a similar thing may happen. In the case of River State, similar thing may happen in Zamfara. Is that what you're saying?
Of course, because if INEC says, look, we are not going to publish, we don't know where to go, Zamfara will have no alternative than to go up and get the Superior Court order in order to tie the hands of INEC.
But must the party, can the party, or should the party, or it's going to be natural for the for INEC to shift the election in their case, or the party will have to get an order from court asking INEC to shift the election?
Well, first, no court can grant an order of court to shift any election according to law. There can be no order of court that entitles INEC to shift an election. No. The only power of INEC to shift election is that, which I have talked about, that confers jurisdiction on INEC by Section 26. Now, the only time that a court order can enable that shift is when that order is made before the election. Before the election.
Let's close the program now. It's interesting, and we're learning new things as regarding our elections. Now, as it stands right now, what danger does this pose? It seems INEC has a lot of court cases on its hand, being dragged pre-election matters on its hand. What is the danger? We've seen in the past how pre-election cases have scuttled chances of candidates.
Well, I don't see much danger. What it means is that in pre-election matters, this can be decided even after the election. And if it has to do with who is the candidate of a party, I mean, at any time that is decided and INEC issues a certificate of return, the law is that the new certificate of return overrides the previous certificate of return issued. And then the new man goes there. Other than that, it may cost INEC a lot more money to cope with litigation and then to, of course, prepare logistics in the event of new elections.
Trust me, INEC says it has hundreds of court cases on his hand right now, and it takes a lot of money. But we're learning a whole lot of stuff, and also new development in the case of Amechi in River State. And now we understand that if you don't participate in the election, you cannot benefit.
In all the processes.
In all the process.
Yeah.
Well, Honorable Idahosa, so much to chew in this election. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
But that's our show for today. As you are trying to wrap your heads around what is happening in terms of the court cases, we are also putting you right in the mood for this election. Trust Channels Television to give you all the details that you need to make the right decision. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.